All right, guys. Like I told my geometry classes, I'm not going to actually video myself. You all don't want to see this hot mess. Hopefully, everybody is doing well. I have taken pictures of the notes as well and put on our Google Classroom if you would rather just look at the pictures and try to figure things out. Otherwise, you can watch through this video and hopefully it will help you with the quiz as assignment. All right, we are picking up where we left off in the middle of chapter 6. Today we're going to do section 6-5, solving radical equations. And this is probably going to be part 1 of at least 2 parts. All right, so when we solve radical equations, or remember a radical is just a square root sign, we do our normal solving steps. If they're adding, we subtract. If they're multiplying, we divide, that kind of stuff. The first thing that we need to do, though, is we do need to get the radical sign, the square root sign, by itself. If it's not by itself, then you do something to get it by itself. Either add or subtract, multiply, divide. We are going to be squaring a radical on every problem we do today, so I want to make sure you guys understand that when you square a radical, you get whatever is underneath of it. You're not actually squaring the number. So on these 4 examples right here, I have the square root of 5. The whole thing squared is just 5. It's not 25. On this one, when I square the square root of x, I just get x. That's it. Over here, I have the square root of 3x. When I square it, I just get 3x. I don't get 9x squared. Okay, you just get whatever is underneath the radical. And then especially ones like this, when I have an expression with an addition or a subtraction sign in it. So I have the square root of 4x plus 6, the whole thing squared. It's just 4x plus 6, okay? All right, so I have 3 quick examples to go through. So to solve each radical equation. So for number 1, my equation is the square root of x equals 10. So remember your first step, you got to get the square root sign by itself. Well, if you look down here, the square root sign is by itself, so I don't have to do anything. So I can go straight to the squaring both side steps. So since the square root sign is by itself, I square both sides. All right, so square, square. So the square root of x squared is just x, and then 10 squared is 100. And then at this point, since x is by itself, I don't have to do anything else, so that's just my answer. X equals 100. That was an easy one. All right, so for question number 2, my original problem says the square root of 5x and then plus 2. Notice the plus 2 is on the outside of the radical, equals 8. So first, I do have to get my radical by itself on this one. So since they're adding 2 right here, I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. That's going to give me the square root of 5x and then equals 6. All right, so the square root is by itself now, so I'm going to square both sides. Remember, when you square a radical, you just get whatever's underneath of it. So the square root of 5x squared is just 5x. 6 squared is 36, 6 times 6. And then on this one, I do need to do one additional step because I want to get the x completely by itself now. So I need to divide both sides by 5. That's our normal steps. And then it is a fraction. It doesn't reduce, so we'll just leave it like that. X equals 36 over 5. All right, for our last problem, my original problem says 4 times the square root of 8x plus 6 equals 28. So this time, to get the square root sign by itself, I do need to get rid of that 4 that's in front. And since they're multiplying by 4, I'm going to divide both sides by 4. So those are going to cancel out, and I'm just left with the square root of 8x plus 6. 28 divided by 4 is 7. Now I want to get the, now that the square root's by itself, I want to square both sides. So this whole thing squared, this, and then 7 squared. And remember, when you square a radical, you just get whatever's underneath of it. So this just turns into 8x plus 6. 7 times 7 turns into 49. And then finish the question by doing your normal steps for solving for x. So 8x plus 6 equals 49. So I'm going to subtract 6 first. 8x equals 43. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 8. And we're getting another fraction. That's okay. It doesn't reduce, so we'll just leave it to x equals 43 over 8. All right, so hopefully the video will help you with your assignment. Remember, you can watch it more than once if you need to. The pictures of the notes will be there as well. There are 2 Quiz-Is links that you need to make sure you do. One is the assignment, and the other one is more for attendance purposes. It's just you checking in saying, hey, I read the Google Classroom post and I know what I'm supposed to do today kind of stuff, in case you can't get the assignment finished in one day. Remember, you can email me. My email address is on Google Classroom, or you can text me if you need to, 502-663-1063. And I guess I'll see you tomorrow.